World AIDS Day is on December 1st, 2019, and it brings together people from around the world to raise awareness about HIV and AIDS and demonstrate international solidarity in the face of the pandemic. I'm Monique Willis, and this is my World AIDS Day project. This year's theme is Ending the HIV/AIDS Epidemic Community by Community, and it starts with each of us, one by one. Nigeria is located in Western Africa, bordering the Gulf of Guinea between Benin and Cameroon. Its area total is 923,768 square kilometers. Its country comparison is number 33 in the world. Its climate varies, being equatorial in the south, tropical in the center, and arid in the north. Nigeria has a bustling population of 203,452,505 people, with 42.45% of that being children aged 0 to 14 years. The median age in Nigeria is 18.1 years for males and 18.6 years for females. The life expectancy at birth in Nigeria is 57.5 years for males and 61.1 years for females. Religion plays a very important role in Nigeria, with Muslims being 51.6% of the population, Christians at 35.7%, and Roman Catholics at 11.2% of the population. Nigeria's gross domestic product has a purchasing power of $1.121 trillion, ranked number 24th in the world. Per capita, it's $5,900, ranked number 166th in the world. Nigeria has a labor force of 60.08 million, ranking 10th in the world, with agriculture being at 70%, services at 20%, and industry making up 10%. With such a rich history rooted in diverse cultures, one would be surprised to learn that Nigeria has the second largest HIV epidemic in the world and one of the highest rates of new infection in sub-Saharan Africa. With 130,000 new infections in 2018, one could venture to say that you are either affected or infected with HIV or AIDS. 80% of the new infections in 2018 of HIV are as a result of unprotected heterosexual sex, and 24.05% is a result of mother-to-child transmission. Adults age 15 and over make up 100,000 of the newly infected with HIV. Women age 15 and over make up 55,000 of the newly infected with HIV. Men age 15 and over make up 47,000 of the newly infected with HIV, and children age 0 to 14 make up 24,000 of the newly infected with HIV. As of 2018, there are currently 1.9 million people living with HIV in Nigeria. Women make up 1 million, men make up 770,000, and children make up 140,000. There are specific groups that are most affected by HIV and AIDS. 58% of people living with HIV are women. 23% are men who have sex with men. 14.4% are sex workers. 3.4% are people who inject drugs, and 220,000 are children ages 0 to 14 years old. HIV, if left untreated, leads to AIDS, and AIDS kills. It is estimated in 2017 that 53,200 people in Nigeria died of AIDS. People infected with HIV need to receive treatment. In 2018, it is estimated that 55% of adults were receiving antiretroviral therapy, and 35% of children were receiving antiretroviral therapy. However, there is still a need for 529,951 persons to receive therapy. Borno State has been the center of Boko Haram's insurgency in Nigeria over the last decade. Previously a frontrunner in antiretroviral treatment coverage, the area has seen ART coverage fall by 18% between 2013 and 2016, with annual drops in the number of people accessing antiretroviral therapies of 41.2%. Services offering HIV care have become more scarce in the midst of the conflict. Weaknesses in the health system exist and create a barrier to many people accessing or staying on treatment. Even when ART can be accessed, drug supplies are known to run out and cause stockouts. In 2015, there were 7,265 health facilities providing the prevention of mother-to-child transmission services. In 2015, there were also 1,078 facilities providing HIV treatment. Family life and HIV education lessons are part of the Nigerian school curriculum. More than 48,500 schools were providing lessons where they were required to teach a comprehensive list of topics relating to HIV, including basic facts about HIV transmission and prevention, alongside more complex issues such as stigma and gender-based violence. Many people living with HIV in Nigeria are unaware of their status. Nigeria continues to fall short of providing the recommended number of HIV testing and counseling sites. In 2017, 57.6% of men between the ages of 15 to 49 reported using a condom when they last had sex. 39.8% of women reported using a condom when they last had sex. 83.2% of people who injected drugs reported not using a condom when they last had sex. In 2010, in Nigeria, there were around 1,000 testing sites. In 2014, there were more than 8,000. People in Nigeria need to get tested and know their status. In 2016, 15.1% of people between the ages of 15 to 49 had tested in the last 12 months and knew their results. Encouraging HIV testing among the Nigerian population to ensure everyone knows their HIV status is key to any informed strategic plan. Nigeria is currently progressing towards the 90-90-90 target. Currently, 67% of the population know their status, 53% are on treatment, and 80% are virally suppressed. Nigeria is striving to make an impact in the fight against HIV and AIDS with the 90-90-90 treatment target. This is where 90% of the people will be diagnosed, 90% of the people will be on medication, and 90% of the people will be virally suppressed. The Nigerian government is made up of the Federal Presidential Republic. The capital is Abuja. There's a president and a vice president. They received their independence from the UK on October 1st, 1960. There are several political parties. The military branch is the Nigerian Armed Forces, the Army, Navy, and Air Force. Despite government commitment to the HIV response, punitive laws such as the 2014 Anti-Homosexuality Bill damage progress. A rise in HIV prevalence is emerging among men who have sex with men, just as punishments for homosexual acts increase, suggesting this group is finding it more and more difficult to access HIV services. Major barriers to accessing HIV prevention programs for men who have sex with men are laws that criminalize their activities. Same sex relations in Nigeria can be punished with 14 years imprisonment. This is not only limiting access to HIV prevention programming for this community, but causing nationwide stigma and discrimination against people based on their sexual orientation. Homophobia is widespread in Nigeria. A recent survey found that 87% of respondents would not be willing to accept that a family member was homosexual, and only 30% of those polled thought that homosexuals should have access to health care. Stigma such as these poses many barriers to HIV prevention for men that have sex with men. Anyone assisting couples may face up to 10 years in prison. Mass arrests of suspected gay men in Nigeria have followed. In July 2017, the police arrested 40 men at a private house party. Men who have sex with men are the only group in Nigeria where HIV prevalence is still rising. A gay man living in Nigeria said, "We just need good legal representation for LGBT people in Nigeria right now. We don't know who to contact when issues arise, and antiretroviral drugs are difficult to get. You can't tell your doctor about your sexuality, so getting the right care is difficult." HIV prevention, education, antiretroviral treatments, and equality for all is the only way we are going to beat HIV and AIDS nationally and globally, community by community. Laws should not be enacted that perpetuate hate and discrimination. You should not be imprisoned or denied access to health care based on who you love. So let's hashtag LGBT Nigeria in support of equality for all, and let's bring awareness to this issue and keep HIV awareness on the forefront.